In the world of drones, there's DJI, and then there's everyone else. DJI controls 85% of the global consumer drone market, dominates 77% of the US, and owns 73% of China's skies. In 2023 alone, DJI likely pulled in over $4 billion in revenue, with net profit margins exceeding 20%. It's the kind of dominance rarely seen outside of military contractors or software monopolies. But how did a small startup from Shenzhen become the empire of the skies? In this video, I'll take you through DJI's journey, from early technical hurdles to the breakthrough products that reshaped entire industries. You'll see how the company turned engineering precision into market dominance, and why, to this day, no competitor has come close. Let's start at the beginning, with the story of its founder, Frank Wang. The origin story. Before DJI ruled the skies, it began with a quiet kid staring at a helicopter on a book cover. Wang Tao, also known as Frank Wang, wasn't a child prodigy. Average grades, quiet, curious, but deeply obsessed with flight. While other kids played with toy cars, he was fixated on how helicopters could hover, a problem that stumped even most engineers. He enrolled in East China Normal University to study electronics, but dropped out, frustrated by the theoretical focus. Rejected by Stanford and MIT, he eventually landed at the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, a school with startup energy and real-world robotics competitions. There, Wang thrived, winning contests and diving deep into drone control systems. For his senior thesis, he attempted the impossible, an autonomous helicopter that could hover. During the live demo, it crashed. He received a C. His academic future was over, but one person saw past the failure, Professor Li Zexiang, a robotics expert with degrees from MIT and Berkeley. Li invited Wang to join his lab as a graduate student, offering mentorship and technical support. With access to lab space and help from other students, Wang kept developing his flight control system. The tech slowly matured. By early 2006, Wang was hand-assembling prototypes and making small sales. Seeing the potential, Professor Li personally invested in the project. That same year, in a rented apartment in Shenzhen, DJI was born, with a mission to master autonomous flight. That obsession with stability in the air, it became DJI's core advantage and the start of a global revolution in the sky. The first breakthrough. In 2007, the early drone prototypes were a disaster. They drifted unpredictably, crashed constantly, and once nearly hit someone during a test. Confidence collapsed. Most of the team quit. The company was on the verge of shutting down. But Frank Wang stayed focused on one goal. Could a drone hover precisely, on its own, without constant human control? It sounds simple, but hovering is one of the hardest challenges in flight. To do it, a drone needs to sense its position in 3D space, detect even the smallest drift, and correct itself instantly, hundreds of times per second. By 2008, DJI cracked it. They released the XP 3.1 flight controller, a breakthrough system that fused real-time sensor data, GPS, and motor algorithms. It allowed drones not just to hover, but to follow a pre-programmed flight path through the air, flying from point to point automatically, like GPS for drones. That same year, DJI unveiled its first commercial product, a single-rotor helicopter drone with a 5-kilogram payload capacity, enough to carry professional-grade cameras. It sold for $30,000. This wasn't a toy. It was a flying robot. Then came the moment that changed everything. When the 2008 Sichuan earthquake struck, Frank Wang flew DJI's drone over disaster zones, capturing over 1,000 aerial photos of collapsed buildings to support rescue efforts. It was the first real-world proof that DJI's tech could do something that mattered. Later that year, at a national drone expo, military, industrial, and government buyers lined up. For the first time, DJI had demand and cash flow. The pivot to multi-rotors. By 2010, DJI had paying customers and a breakthrough product, the ACE-1 flight control system. ACE-1 marked a shift from DIY parts to integrated systems, combining GPS stabilization and plug-and-play simplicity. What once took 2 hours of setup now took just 15 minutes. It was designed for aerial photography professionals and was already shipping internationally, laying the groundwork for DJI's push beyond hobbyists. But in New Zealand, something unexpected happened. DJI's camera stabilizers were outselling its flight controllers. Customers weren't flying helicopters. They were building quadcopters, using DJI's stabilizers to shoot stable video from the air. That was when everything clicked. Unlike helicopters, quadcopters have 4 symmetrical rotors, no tail, and no complex mechanics. They were cheaper to build, easier to fly, and inherently more stable. Wang Tao realized this wasn't a passing trend. It was a fundamental shift in how drones would be built and flown. So, DJI made a bold decision. It shifted its entire R&D focus from helicopters to multi-rotors. Phantom 1, the game changer. In 2011, at a trade show in Muncie, Indiana, Frank Wang met Colin Ginn, a Texas-based entrepreneur running an aerial cinematography startup. Colin was looking for a drone that could deliver stable cinematic video. DJI had the tech. Colin had the vision to bring it to creators. Their collaboration led to the launch of DJI North America, a U.S. subsidiary based in Austin, Texas. While DJI engineers built the drone in Shenzhen, Colin helped shape how it would reach the West. He positioned it not as a gadget, but as a flying camera anyone could use. That vision became reality in 2013 with the launch of the Phantom 1, the drone that redefined an entire industry. It was DJI's first fully assembled, ready-to-fly drone. It featured GPS stabilization, autonomous hover, a GoPro-ready mount, and optional return to home. If signal was lost at just $629, it was affordable and practical, even for first-time flyers. No soldering, no programming, just charge, turn on, and fly. Filmmakers, YouTubers, realtors, and hobbyists embraced it. Social media exploded with drone footage. Reviewers called it a sky tripod. The Phantom didn't just launch a product. It launched DJI into the global mainstream and drones into everyday life. From GoPro to going solo. With the Phantom 2, DJI partnered with GoPro, integrating their action cameras using DJI's newly developed ZenMuse gimbals. The result was a hit. For the first time, creators could capture smooth, stabilized aerial footage using an off-the-shelf drone. The combination helped push drone photography into the mainstream, especially in the US, where Colin led a major consumer push. But the partnership didn't last. GoPro started building its own drone, the Karma. Meanwhile, tensions grew between DJI's US office and headquarters in Shenzhen. Colin advocated for more autonomy. Frank Wang disagreed. The fallout was quick. Colin was removed. DJI North America was brought back under full control of HQ, and DJI took away a key lesson. To lead the drone industry, it couldn't rely on outside partners. From that point on, DJI went all in on vertical integration, building its own cameras, designing proprietary gimbals, controlling every layer of hardware and software. This shift gave DJI total command over quality, cost, and innovation speed, setting the stage for its next leap forward. Phantom 3 and the power of integration. After stepping away from GoPro, DJI doubled down on a bigger idea. Build not just drones, but a complete ecosystem. Frank Wang wasn't just thinking about flight. He was thinking about control, from hardware to software, sky to screen. DJI launched its own mobile app, giving users live flight data, real-time video streaming, GPS tracking, battery monitoring, and camera controls, all from their phones. It entered the Apple App Store and later Android and Windows platforms, unifying the user experience across ecosystems. For the first time, a Chinese drone company delivered a consumer experience on par with Silicon Valley. Then came the product that sealed it, the Phantom 3. It was the first DJI drone with a built-in DJI-designed camera, stabilized by DJI's own 3-axis gimbal, and controlled entirely through DJI's own software platform. No GoPro, no third parties, no compromises. The Phantom 3 was sleek, intuitive, and fully integrated, ready to shoot 4K footage out of the box. It didn't just improve the product. It showed the power of DJI's vertical integration strategy in action. By the time the Phantom 3 hit shelves in 2015, DJI controlled over 70% of the global drone market. Beyond consumers, DJI goes industrial. Frank Wang saw potential beyond consumer tech. He believed DJI's technology could solve real-world problems, far beyond filmmaking and hobby flying. So DJI expanded into professional sectors, developing drones purpose-built for specific industries. In agriculture, the Agra series automated crop spraying and field monitoring, boosting efficiency and cutting labor costs. In cinematography, the Inspire series delivered stunning dynamic shots that once required helicopters, quickly becoming a favorite in Hollywood and commercial productions. In infrastructure and emergency response, the Matrice series provided rugged modular platforms for inspections, mapping, search and rescue, and disaster response. By solving critical problems across multiple fields, DJI evolved from a drone company into a full-stack provider of aerial solutions, serving everyone from farmers to filmmakers, first responders to utility companies. The strategic engine, how DJI won. DJI didn't just ride the drone wave, it created it and stayed ahead of everyone else. While competitors chased trends and outsourced development, DJI focused on something harder to replicate: engineering excellence. At the center was Frank Wang, an engineer before anything else. He wasn't chasing headlines. He was chasing precision, how sensors are placed, how motors respond, how firmware handles wind. Product came first, always. That mindset shaped every decision. Where others partnered, DJI built its own. Where others assembled parts, DJI engineered the system. The company reinvested over 20% of annual revenue into R&D, a figure more typical of biotech than consumer electronics. And it paid off. From just $160 million in revenue in 2012, DJI scaled to over $4 billion by 2023, with profit margins once exceeding 24%. Even after a dip to around $3.5 billion in 2024, it still holds more than 70% of the global drone market. By 2023, DJI had over 14,000 patents, with more than 8,600 applications filed, a team where 45% of employees work in R&D, industry leadership in flight control, imaging, and automation. But DJI's edge wasn't just what it invented, it was how it built it. Vertical integration became the foundation of its dominance. Flight controllers, motors, gimbals, batteries, even its own Equator series chips, capable of 45 million operations per second, all designed, manufactured, and optimized in-house. This gave DJI 30% lower unit cost 20-point margin advantage, faster development cycles, superior system performance, a technical moat that rivals couldn't cross. And being based in Shenzhen, the global epicenter of hardware manufacturing, amplified every one of those advantages. Today, DJI controls over 50% of the embodied intelligence supply chain: motors, sensors, boards, and controllers. This wasn't just a strategy, it was a system, engineered to win. The looming threat. Just as DJI reached the height of global dominance, a new threat emerged, not from competitors, but from geopolitics. In 2024, the U.S. passed the fiscal year 25 National Defense Authorization Act, setting a firm deadline. If DJI doesn't complete a formal security audit by December 2025, it will face an automatic ban. DJI requested the audit. No agency stepped up. If nothing changes, the ban will happen by default. The stakes are enormous. DJI drones are deeply embedded in U.S. infrastructure, used daily by firefighters, police, and rescue teams, relied on by construction firms, farmers, surveyors, and utilities. In many states, DJI holds over 90% market share in public safety and urban planning. An automatic ban wouldn't just hurt DJI, it would disrupt critical operations nationwide, forcing industries to switch to less capable, more expensive alternatives. This isn't just about drones. It's a clash between national policy and operational reality. And for DJI, with 14,000 plus patents, global reach, and field-proven reliability, it's not about wrongdoing. It's about bureaucracy. Where does DJI go from here? On one side, a company that leads the world in drone technology, engineering, and vertical integration. On the other, a ticking political deadline, with the risk of being cut off from one of its largest markets. Will DJI adapt again and shift its focus globally? Will innovation prevail over politics? Or will the U.S. ground its most widely trusted drones without a secure alternative in place? One thing is clear, the future of drones is no longer just about machines in the sky. It's about who gets to control that sky. Your take. Should DJI be banned in the US? Should the US invest in building its own alternative? Or is this more about politics than technology? Let us know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like and subscribe for more. Want to see how another company turned quirky toys into a billion-dollar cultural phenomenon? Check out our next video on Pop Mart's viral growth, from Labubu to blind boxes. It's a masterclass in collectible marketing.